Hello students, I welcome you to EPG Pathshala. My name is Dr. Shiv Kumar Sood. I am senior scientist in the division of Animal Biochemistry at National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal in Haryana, India. Today I am going to talk about module Sequence Alignment Creation Process from the paper Biostatistics and Bioinformatics. Friends, DNA, RNA and protein sequences are linear polymers of nucleotide bases or amino acids. The single letter codes of these residues are written in successive columns along each sequence. A sequence alignment between a pair of sequences aligns evolutionary related residues present in different protein or nucleic acid sequences in the same column of the two sequences. The alignment between two sequences is created using dynamic programming algorithm. When combined with empirically derived appropriate scoring matrix and appropriate gap penalty scheme, the dynamic programming method is guaranteed to find optimal alignment between two sequences. However, more than one optimal alignments between a pair of sequences is possible. Each alignment between a pair of sequences is assigned a score. For this purpose, each residue in first sequence aligned with another residue in second sequence is assigned a score. The total score of complete sequence alignment is the sum total of all the column scores assigned to each aligned residue in that particular columns. Different alignments between the same pair of sequences can be compared based on their achieved scores and their different schemes. And there are different schemes for scoring alignments of proteins and nucleic acids. To score sequence alignments, two families of scoring systems based on previous biological knowledge have been developed. First family, known as PAM family, is based on observed evolutionary distance among closely related sequences. Second family, known as Blossom family, is based on observed conservation of residues among distantly related sequences. In addition to scoring alignment of residues with residues, there are two schemes for scoring alignments involving gaps due to insertions and deletions. Therefore, first we'll discuss different scoring schemes and then we'll discuss the powerful dynamic programming method for creating sequence alignment. In the present module, the learning objectives are to understand PAM family of scoring matrices, Blossom family of scoring matrices, different gap penalty schemes, and dynamic programming for creating sequence alignment. To derive an empirical scoring matrix, all sequences belonging to a particular family of related proteins are carefully selected and aligned to place the residues in successive columns. In the present example, 20 sequences are aligned for the first 20 residues. Then the residues in each column are counted and tabulated for conservations and substitutions. In the first column, amino acid alanine is present in majority at 16 positions. Therefore, the observed frequency to conserve alanine is 0.8. In this column, alanine is replaced by valine at 4 position. Therefore, the observed frequency of mutation of alanine to valine is 0.2. In this way, frequency matrix with each of the possible combination of amino acids is constructed. The alignment score for each of the possible combination of amino acids is equal to the log of the ratio of observed frequency of residues represented by Qij to random frequency of mutations represented by the product of Pi and Pj. The log to the base 10 is taken for developing a PAM matrix and log to the base 2 is taken for developing a BLOSUM matrix. Highest positive score in a scoring matrix is achieved by a conserved residue. Other positive scores indicates a mutation by a similar residue. 0 score represents a mutation by weakly similar residue and negative score shows a mutation by a dissimilar residue. Margaret Dayhoff, following model of evolution, developed several scoring matrices known as PAM family of substitution matrices. Global alignments of full-length sequences of very closely related proteins having 85% or more identities were created. Then from these aligned sequences, a phylogenetic tree was constructed. From this tree, closely placed sequences with 1% mutations called point mutation corresponding to 1 PAM distance of evolution were selected, and then the observed frequencies were tabulated to achieve PAM1 matrix. PAM here stands for point accepted mutation and the number, that is 1, denotes 1% mutations. Other PAM numbers, say PAM-N, representing more divergences, were extrapolated from PAM1. After 100 PAMs of evolution, not every residue would have mutated. Some might have mutated several times, perhaps returning to their original state, and others not at all. Therefore, PAM distances were extrapolated beyond 100 PAMs. This table equates a PAM number with percent identity between two sequences. This table also equates approximate evolutionary distance in PAM number with percent observed mutations. Therefore, PAM 250 matrix can be used to align proteins having 80% mutations, that is, for aligning most diverged proteins, and PAM 30 can be used to align proteins having 75% identities, that is, for aligning closely related proteins. This conveys that we have different PAM scoring matrices for aligning differently diverged protein sequences. PAM family of matrices follow a model of evolution. Therefore, PAM matrices are more appropriate for constructing phylogenetic trees, that is, to decipher evolutionary history of related proteins. PAM 250, the most diverged matrix, is shown next. The residues on the main diagonal, highlighted with green background, has highest positive scores and shows the scores to be assigned to the conserved residues. The scores highlighted with yellow color represents scores to be assigned to allowed substitutions for similar residues. The scores highlighted with gray color represents the scores to be assigned to allowed substitutions for weakly similar residues. The scores highlighted with red color represents scores to be assigned to allowed substitutions for dissimilar residues. Therefore, these substitutions are discouraged during evolution. PAM 250 matrix shows that each amino acid is not conserved equally during evolution. This is highlighted with green background. For example, tryptophan has the highest score, that is 17. It is found that the next conserved residue is cysteine with a score of 12 to be assigned with this matrix. Therefore, the identity alignment scores are not equal for all amino acids. Secondly, when some amino acids mutate to another amino acid, then the chance of mutation to any other amino acids is not equal for possible pairs of the substitutions. For example, when tyrosine, the most conserved residue, mutates to any other 19 amino acids, then the chances to mutate to any other 19 amino acids are not equal for all amino acids. There are more chances to mutate to another aromatic amino acids such as phenylalanine with a score of +7 than to mutate to any acidic or any basic amino acid with a score of -4. These mutations are discarded by selection of the fittest during evolution. That is, such mutations to dissimilar amino acids are discouraged. Hanickoff and Hanickoff developed BLOSSOM family of scoring matrices from about 2000 blocks of aligned sequence segments characterizing more than 500 groups of related proteins. They used multiple sequence alignments of local regions in distantly related proteins and identified conserved regions without gaps. Identified conserved regions formed the blocks database. This database serves as the source of the data for all BLOSSOM matrices. BLOSSOM stands for blocks substitution matrix, where identity in conserved regions is 62%. The matrix developed is called BLOSSOM 62. BLOSSOM 80 shares no more than 80% identity. The availability of BLOSSOM 62 and BLOSSOM 80 shows that we have different scoring matrices for aligning differently conserved protein sequences. In addition, it shows each amino acid is not conserved equally. Some amino acids are conserved more than others. For example, tryptophan is the most conserved amino acid, followed by cysteine. BLOSSOM family of matrices, instead of extrapolating from a single matrix as in PAM family of matrices, all matrices here were developed from direct observation of conserved regions for the desired levels of identities. BLOSSOM matrices are not extrapolated from a single directly observed alignment. For example, BLOSSOM 80 represents a substitution matrix developed from aligned sequences with conserved block having not more than 80% identities. After alignment without gaps, the substitution rates of each amino acid to each of the other amino acids are tabulated to develop BLOSSOM 80. BLOSSOM matrices are more appropriate for finding conserved regions in proteins. We have already seen that PAM 250 scoring matrix is suitable for alignments of sequences having approximately 20% identity. PAM 250 is equivalent to BLOSUM 45. Therefore, BLOSUM 45 can be used with sequences having approximately 20% identity. Similarly, we know that PAM 120 scoring matrix is suitable for alignments of sequences having approximately 38% identity. PAM 120 is equivalent to BLOSUM 80. Therefore, BLOSUM 80 can be used with sequences having approximately 38% identity. This shows that BLOSUM 80 and PAM 120 scoring matrices can be used for less divergent sequences, whereas BLOSUM 45 and PAM 250 scoring matrices are suitable for alignments which are more divergent. This comparison shows that number of PAM and number of BLOSUM matrices are running in opposite directions to indicate the evolutionary difference, to indicate the evolutionary divergence. Higher PAM and lower BLOSUM number indicates higher divergence. On the other hand, lower PAM number and higher BLOSUM number indicates less divergence. In between these limits, we have BLOSUM 62 and PAM 160, which are intermediately diverged. Therefore, BLOSUM 62 and PAM 160 can be used with sequences having intermediate identity. During evolution, there are mutations involving insertions and deletions in the gene and protein sequences. An insertion can be thought of as an incorporation of some additional residue in one sequence, which is not present in the other sequence. Therefore, to align the inserted residues in the first sequence, you need to insert gaps in the second sequence. Conversely, it can be thought of that these residues which were present originally in both the sequences, but there was a mutation of the same residues in the second sequence, which are still present in the first sequence. In this case, again, we need to introduce gaps in the second sequence to align the residues which were not deleted from the first sequences. The gaps are inserted in a sequence alignment wherever an insertion is there and deletion takes place during evolution. However, insertions and deletions are not so common during evolution, particularly in the case of closely related sequences. Therefore, there is need to discourage introduction of gaps while aligning closely related sequences. However, for distantly related sequences, introduction of gaps is not discouraged harshly. Therefore, there is a need to discourage gaps in closely related sequences more severely than in distantly related sequences. There are two models of scoring gaps. First is the linear gap penalty model and second is affine gap penalty model. Using linear gap penalty, each gap position is penalized equally. This allows insertions or deletion of individual residues independent of the insertion or deletion of nearby residues. For example, if we fix the gap penalty at -3 and there is a deletion of 5 residues, then the gap penalty will be -15. On the other hand, if only one residue is deleted in the sequence, then the gap penalty score during alignment will be just -3. In affine gap penalty model, on the other hand, there are separate gap penalties for opening a gap and then for extending the already opened gap. A higher penalty for having opened a gap and then a mild penalty for extending the gap of certain inserted or deleted residues. This is based on the hypothesis that insertions or deletions in related sequences usually involve more than one residue. This does not allow insertion deletion of individual residues independently, but presumes that insertion deletion of blocks of residues. Therefore, if there is a deletion, then a gap is opened with a large penalty such as -10. This is called gap opening penalty. In addition, another penalty, but mild one, is added for each individual residue deleted. This may be such as -1. This is called gap extension penalty. Therefore, if deletion was of one residue, then the total affine gap penalty will be -11. If 5 residues were deleted, total affine gap penalty will be -15. Therefore, when using a scoring matrix such as BLOSUM 80 for aligning closely related sequences having higher number of identities, you have to assign high gap opening penalty and high gap extension penalty. On the other hand, when aligning distantly related sequences having less number of identities, using scoring matrix such as BLOSUM 45, you can assign mild gap penalty for opening and mild gap penalty for extension of the insertions and deletions. In addition, when aligning intermediately related sequences using scoring matrix such as BLOSUM 62, you can assign intermediate gap opening and intermediate gap extension penalty. To understand the meaning of optimal alignment, one has to break the alignment as shown in A into two parts as shown in B. The overall alignment score is the score for alignment shown in A is equal to the sum of the score for the left hand alignment of 4 bases in B1 plus the score for alignment of 2 bases shown in B2. If we assume that the 5 base alignment in A is optimal, we must conclude that the 4 base alignment shown in B1 is also an optimal alignment. If it was not, for example, say we gave a higher score for aligning A with D, then aligning A with C, then the alignment shown in C would have been getting a higher score than the one shown in A. Then C rather than A would have been the optimal alignment. In plain English, the best alignment that ends at a given pair of bases or amino acids is the best alignment of two sequences up to that point, plus the score for aligning two additional bases or amino acids. Further moving, another pair of bases from B gives us a situation shown in D. This step would require inserting a gap in sequence 2. This brief consideration shows that at any step there are 3 possibilities: aligning the next residue from both the sequences, or aligning the next residue from sequence 1 with a gap in sequence 2, or aligning the next residue in sequence 2 with a gap in sequence 1. Whenever at any step there are 3 possibilities for the current step, and the result of the current step depends upon the result obtained during the previous step, then the dynamic programming algorithm is the best to use. Let us understand dynamic programming algorithm by taking an example of aligning 2 amino acid sequences. These sequences are shown in blue. Let us use BLOSUM 62 matrix arbitrarily to understand scoring during dynamic programming alignment of these sequences. For scoring gap positions, let us use linear gap penalty of -1. There are 3 phases in the alignment using dynamic programming method. The first is to create a matrix for scoring the score of each possible residue for each possible residue to residue alignment in two sequences. The second is to trace back path of the alignment using the above score matrix. The third is to generate sequence alignment from this traceback path. For constructing a score table to store the score of each possible residue to residue alignment, create a table based on sequence lengths. The sequence lengths are 10 residues in each. The first phase starts with constructing a table with 2 extra rows and 2 extra columns than each sequence length. That is 12 columns for the first sequence and 12 rows for the second sequence in the present example. The first sequence is written horizontally in the top row of this table, starting from the third to last cell of the row. The second sequence is written vertically on the leftmost column, starting from the third to last row of the first column. An arbitrary character such as psi is placed before both the sequences to signify that every sequence begins with a gap. The first row, first column cell is left blank. A 0 is placed in second row, second column cell to signify the alignment of a gap with a gap. Now assign the scores to all the columns in the second row cells for aligning initial gap in vertical sequence with each residue in horizontal sequence. Start with the third column of the second row. The score in this cell is to be assigned for matching horizontal sequence residue S, that is a serine, with vertical sequence residue psi, a gap. Since aligning a gap with the residue has a score of -1, in this alignment we add -1 to the score written in the left cell. The score in the left cell is 0, therefore -1 is added to 0, which gives sum total to -1. Therefore -1 is written in the second row, third column. Now assign the score in the fourth column of the second row. This score in this cell is aligned. This score in this cell is assigned for matching horizontal sequence residue D and aspartate with vertical sequence initial gap psi. Since aligning a gap with residue has a score of -1 in this alignment, therefore we add -1 to the score written in the left cell. The score in the left cell is -1. Therefore -1 added give rise to -2. Therefore -2 is written in fourth column of the second row. Now assign the score to second column of third row. This score in this cell is assigned for matching vertical sequence residue serine with horizontal sequence gap. Since aligning a gap is assigned score -1, add -1 to this, which results in -1. Therefore -1 is written in the second row, in the second column of third row. Now assign the score in the second column of the fourth row. The score in this cell is assigned for matching vertical sequence residue E, a glutamate, with horizontal sequence, that is a gap. Since aligning a gap with residue got score of -1 in this example, we add -1 to the score written in the upper cell. The score in the upper cell is -1, so adding -1 will give -2. Therefore -2 is written in the fourth row in the second column. Continue filling the gap scores in the second row and second column in this way, and it will end up as shown in this score table. Following dynamic programming algorithm, fill the score table for residue alignment using substitution matrix BLOSSOM 62. In the dynamic programming, 4 cells in the score table are considered at each step. These cells include the cell to be assigned an alignment score and 3 adjacent cells, which include one exactly on the left, one diagonally up on the left side and one exactly upper cell. The adjacent cells to the third row, third column contain one number each with -1, 0 and -1 for left, diagonally upper left and upper cell respectively. In the present example, a linear gap penalty of -1 is followed and this gap penalty is added to the number in the left cell and also to the number in the upper cell. The left cell and the upper cell both contain -1, therefore -1 is added to each and both result in -2 for each. Now we find the score for aligning S in vertical sequence with S in horizontal sequence using Blossom 62 matrix. The score is 4 and therefore we'll add this 4 to the number in the cell diagonally up on the left side. This cell presently contains 0, therefore adding 4 to 0 results in a total of 4. Now we have arrived at 3 numbers for the current cell. 2 numbers are -2 and third number is 4. We'll select the maximum number out of these 3 numbers and place that number in the cell under consideration. Since 4 is the maximum in these 3 numbers, we put a 4 in the empty cell under consideration. At the next step, for assigning a score to the third row, fourth column, consider 4 cells again. That is, one exactly on the left, one diagonally up on the left side and one exactly upper side. These cells contain one number each with 4, -1 and -2 for left, diagonally upper left and upper cell respectively. We have followed a gap penalty policy of -1 in the present case, and this gap penalty is added to the number in the left cell and also in the cell exactly up the empty cell. The left cell contains 4, therefore -1 is added to the result to result in 3. The upper cell contains -2, therefore -1 is added to result in -3. Now we will find that what is the score of aligning S in vertical sequence with D in horizontal sequence using Blossom 62 matrix. The score is 0 and we will add this 0 to the number in the cell diagonally up on the left side. This cell presently contains -1. Therefore, adding 0 to -1 results in a total of -1. We are now again arrived at 3 numbers, 3, -1 and -3 from left, diagonally upper left and upper cell respectively. We'll again select the maximum number out of these 3 and place that number in the cell under consideration. Since 3 is maximum, in these 3 numbers we put a 3 in the empty cell under consideration. Now at next step, for assigning a score to third row, fourth column, again we consider 4 cells. Similar way, one exactly on left, one diagonally up on the left and one exactly upper cell. These cells contain again one number each with 3, -2 and -3 for left, diagonally upper left and upper cell respectively. Since we have followed a gap penalty policy of -1 in the present case, this gap penalty is added to the number in the left cell and also exactly up and the cell we are matching. The left cell contains 3, therefore -1 added results in 2. Upper cell contains the upper cell contains -3, therefore -1 is added to result in -4. Now we'll find the score of aligning S in vertical sequence with Q in horizontal sequence using Blossom 62 matrix. The score is 0, therefore we'll add this 0 to the number in cell diagonally up on the left side. This cell presently contains -2, therefore adding 0 to -2 results in a total of -2. Now we have the 3 numbers arrived at for the current cell, 2, -2 and -4 from left, diagonally upper left and upper cell respectively. We'll select the maximum number out of these 3 and place in the cell under consideration. Since 2 is the maximum in these three numbers, we put a 2 in empty cell. We put a 2 in the empty cell under consideration. In this manner, the complete grid is filled as shown in the slide. Next, we follow the second phase of dynamic programming. This phase is called tracing back. To trace back, read the lower rightmost cell. This cell has a score of 36. In addition, consider three other cells exactly adjacent to this cell. One on the left, one on the diagonally up left side, and one upper cell. These cells has numbers 30, 31, and 30. Now trace back from lower rightmost cell with a score 36. Tracing back is always to that adjacent cell which has the highest number. While tracing back, place an arrow from lower right corner of the present cell to the lower right corner of the cell which has the highest number. If in case all the three adjacent cells contain the same number, then an arrow from lower right corner of the current cell is started and ended at the lower right corner of diagonally upper left cell. However, in the present case, the maximum number among the three is 31 in the diagonally upper left cell. Therefore, an arrow from lower right corner of the current cell with the number 36 is started and ended with the lower right corner of diagonally upper left cell with number 31. Next, again trace back to one of the three adjacent cells from the current cell with number 31 as highlighted. Since the diagonally upper left cell has highest number 26, place an arrow from lower right corner of the current cell to the lower right corner of the diagonally upper left cell. In this way, continue to trace back. In case there are two cells with equal numbers, then trace back to both the cells. These represents alternative forms of optimal alignment and will result in two optimal alignments. But in the present case, we have not seen any such. This traceback results in this path. Then in the last phase of dynamic programming, generate actual sequence alignment from this traceback path. Start from the lower rightmost arrow. Whenever there is a diagonal arrow, then the residues from both the sequences are written in the same column of alignment. For example, the lower rightmost cell has a diagonal arrow. Therefore, residues from both the sequences are written in the same column. As shown, include both the arginines in the alignment. Then follow to the previous arrow. The previous arrow is again diagonal. Therefore, include residues of both the sequences to align in the same column. Then follow the previous arrow again. The arrow is again diagonal. Therefore, include the residues of both the sequences to align in the same column again. In this way, continue till a horizontal or vertical arrow is encountered. In the present example, continue aligning residues for the diagonal arrows till E in the vertical sequence and E in the horizontal sequence is encountered. Then there is a vertical arrow. Since now the arrow is vertical, a residue from the vertical sequence is written and a gap in horizontal sequence is introduced. Next, there is a horizontal arrow. Therefore, a residue from horizontal sequence is aligned with a gap in vertical sequence. This way of alignment using dynamic programming was described by Needleman and Wunsch. This is alignment of two sequences of 10 residues each using BLOSUM 62. This resulted in 6 conserved residues, 2 conservative mutations, and 2 gaps, resulting in total alignment length of 11 residues. In some cells of the score table, the score went below 0 This is the algorithm for aligning sequences globally where the score was allowed to fall below 0. Let us take another example of Needleman-Wunsch dynamic programming alignment for the pair of protein sequences shown in this slide for completed score table using BLOSUM 62 and linear gap penalty 0. This manual dynamic programming alignment using Needleman-Wunsch algorithm with BLOSUM 62 and 0 gap penalty produced 14 conserved positions, that is 14 similarities, 3 conservative substitutions with 7 gaps having an overlap alignment length of 24. So students, let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. Nucleic acid and protein sequence alignment places evolutionary related residues in two sequences in corresponding columns along horizontal row sequences. To compare different alignment, we need to assign scores to each alignment. Each score, each residue aligned with another residue or with a gap in the corresponding column is assigned an alignment score. There are empirically derived schemes for scoring alignment of residues in proteins and nucleic acids. PAM family matrices follow a model of evolution, therefore these are more appropriate for constructing phylogenetic trees. That is, to decipher evolutionary history among related sequences. BLOSUM matrices are more appropriate for finding conserved regions, conserved blocks in proteins. There are several matrices in PAM family, each reflecting a different evolutionary distance, and particular PAM matrix is suitable for aligning residues having that particular evolutionary divergence. In addition, a look at these matrices shows that each amino acid is not conserved equally. Some amino acids are conserved more than others. For example, tryptophan has been found to be the most conserved amino acid, followed by cysteine. For aligning gaps, a fine gap penalty scheme appears to be more appropriate for protein alignments, and linear gap penalty appears to be more appropriate for nucleic acid alignments. Given the evolutionary derived scoring matrix, dynamic programming is the best to find optimal alignment. The first use of dynamic programming for alignment between two sequences was made by Needleman and Wunsch for creating global alignment. This is meaningful for comparisons between members of the same protein family with conserved sequences with almost similar lengths. Thank you for visiting EPG Pathshala.